Before the American frontier was closed by the United States, a trick-taking game emerged where players tended to leave their opponents with a broken heart. Greetings and welcome to Checkpoint Gaming. With this episode, we will be going over how to play the game Hearts. With Hearts, it is a trick-taking game where the objective is to avoid taking tricks that will lead to the player scoring points. The means by which points are scored is through the taking of tricks that possess hearts. With this episode, we will be describing the variant of hearts that is known as the Black Lady, where the Queen of Spades also possesses a point value. But if you do not wish to play the Black Lady variant, then just follow the rules described here without the Queen of Spades scoring any points. Although it can be played with 3, 5, and 6 players, the most common version is to play the game with 4 players. With that said, we'll be focusing upon the 4-player variants of the game unless it is otherwise stated. With the basic setup, it is every player for themselves. With the card deck being used, it is the standard 52 card deck with each suit ranked with the ace being the highest value card and the 2 being the lowest value card. There is also no trump suit. With the dealing out of the cards, as well as the order of play, it occurs in a clockwise manner. When dealing out the cards, the entire deck is to be dealt 1 card at a time until each player possesses a total of 13 cards. With each heart, it is worth 1 penalty point, with the Queen of Spades being worth 13 penalty points. Regarding every other card, they have no value. The objective of the game, it is to avoid scoring any points, with the game ending when the player reaches or exceeds 100 points, with the player possessing the lowest score at this point being deemed the winner. But upon player agreement, this value can be increased. But when a player has claimed all of the penalty points, this is known as a slam or shooting the moon, and grants said player the choice to either reduce their score by 26 points or to have all the other players' scores be increased by 26 points. After the deck has been dealt, go through the discard process where they will pass 3 cards to a given player. On the first hand, the players will pass 3 cards face down to the player to their left. When passing these cards, the player will have to select the cards they want to pass, ready to be picked up by the receiving player. The player will have to pass these cards before they are allowed to pick up, look at, and add to their hand the one that they received. On the second hand, the player will pass the cards to the right in the same manner. On the third hand, the player will pass these cards to the player standing opposite them. On the fourth hand, no cards are to be passed. This cycle will repeat itself until the game comes to an end. To start play, the player holding the 2 of clubs will lead the first trick. From there, other players will play a card of the same suit that was led, if possible, in a clockwise manner. But if a player doesn't have said card of that given suit, then the player may play any card that they wish. The player who played the highest card of the late suit will win the trick and will lead the next trick. It is also an option to not allow hearts to be broken in the first trick unless the player only possesses penalty cards. We'll leave it up to the players if they wish to impose this optional rule or not. With the following trick, it is illegal to lead with a heart unless a heart has been played during the previous trick. The exception to this is if the player doesn't contain anything but hearts within their hand. This allows them to lead with a heart even if hearts haven't been previously broken. After playing a heart during a trick, which is known as breaking hearts, it allows hearts not only to be played, but also led in future tricks. In general, discarding a penalty card during a trick is known as painting the trick. With that said, players are allowed to lead with a spade to any trick after the first trick. And if players try to drive out the Queen of Spades, it is known as smoking out the Queen. With that taken care of, we can move on to game variants. First, we have Kitty, where less than 13 cards are dealt to each player. This can be done to cope with the fact that the cards cannot be evenly dealt to the players. Due to this, during the deal, the excess cards are to be dealt face down into the kitty. From there, the kitty is added to the trick of the first player who takes the first trick or takes the penalty point. How this will be determined, we'll leave it up to the players. Second, we have different means of dealing with the passing cycle, and there are 5 options available to choose from. The first option is to skip the no-hold hand, causing the passing sequence to consist of pass left, pass right, pass across, and then repeat. The second option is to perform a scatter instead of holding. With the scatter option, it consists of each player passing 1 card to each of their opponents. The third option is to do both the scatter and the hold hands variants. If doing this, then the cycle would consist of pass left, pass right, pass across, scatter, hold, and then repeat. The fourth option is to include mix into the cycle. With mix, it consists of everyone discarding 3 cards into a pile found into the center of the play area. These cards get shuffled together, and then the cards get dealt out to the players. If a kitty is being used, then an option exists where this card can get shuffled in as well, thus allowing the kitty to contain some of the discards. The fifth and final option is to not pass at all if the players do not wish to do so. They will simply pass the cards that were passed to them without looking at them. This could result in the player to get their own cards back. Third, we have the play of the hand alterations. With this variant, it provides options for players to choose from regarding how to play cards that are found in their hand. The first option is to allow heart to be laid at any time, even if they weren't broken in an earlier trick. The second option is to have the player found to the dealer's left to lead with the first trick, even if they don't hold the 2 of clubs and can lead with any card. If playing with the restriction of leading with the heart, then this player can lead with any card other than the heart. The third option is to have the playing of the Queen of Spades breaks hearts. This allows hearts to be led anytime after the Queen of Spades or any heart was played in an earlier trick. The fourth option is a player that's on lead is holding nothing but hearts and the Queen of Spades, and hearts have yet to be broken, then the player is allowed to lead with the heart instead of forcing the player to lead with the Queen of Spades. The fifth option is to have the Queen of Spades having to be played when it is safe for the player to do so. This can be when said player is avoiding the lead suit or during a trick where the Ace of Spades or King of Spades has been already played. Fourth, we have scoring. There is something known as shooting the sun, where the player will take all the tricks played instead of just taking all the penalty points. Someone will score this as 52 points, and the scoring being dealt with in the same manner as shooting the moon. When scoring the points for shooting the moon, some variants are present to choose from. These include 1. The shooter will always deduct the 26 points, 2. All the other players will always add 26 points, and 3. All the other players will add 26 points unless this will cause one of the other players to win, in which case the shooter will have the 26 points deducted from their score. When a player has reached 100 points and there is a tie for who will have the lowest score, additional hands can be played until there is a clear winner. Fifth, we have partnership hearts. There are 2 ways for 4 players to play hearts in a fixed partnership, with partners sitting across from each other. The first variant is that the partners keep the tricks together. With each hand that the team scores, the total number of penalty points that the team has taken in the tricks. A slam occurs whenever one team will take all 14 penalty cards in a hand. This in turn allows the team to give the opposing team 26 penalty points or to subtract 26 penalty points from their own score. The second version is that each player keeps an individual score, with shooting the moon occurring when an individual player has taken all the penalty cards. The game will continue until an individual player has scored 100 or more points. From there, the scores of the partners will total their points, and the partnership with the fewer points will win the game. So it is possible for a team to win the game even if a player has scored 100 points or more. Some players can choose to play the game by passing 3 cards to the partner on every deal. Doing so can provide information to the other partner as a means of passive communication. 6. We have other number of players. This can be seen with 3 or 5 player games. There are various ways of coping with the fact that the cards are unable to be dealt out in an equal manner to all the players. The first variant is that players are dealt 17 cards in a 3-player game or 10 cards in a 5-player game. The remaining cards are called the kitty and are placed into the middle of the table face down. It is recommended that the kitty cards are dealt in the middle of the deal instead of at the end of the deal, the last card being dealt to the dealer. But we will leave this up to the individual play groups. With taking these kitty cards, they can be claimed by the player who takes the first trick or takes the first penalty point. This can be decided amongst the players. From there, these kitty cards are placed into the player's captured card, with the player being allowed to look at them. If the 2 of clubs is one of the kitty cards, then the holder of the lowest club card not found in the kitty will then lead. The second variant is like the first variant, but the person who takes the first point or trick will add the kitty cards to their hand and then discard an equal number of cards face down into the tricks. The third variant is to remove cards from the deck. With a 3-player game, the 2 diamonds is removed from the deck, while in a 5-player game, the 2 diamonds and the 2 of clubs are removed, with the 3 of clubs leading the first trick. When it comes to that of passing cards in 3 and 5-player games, the following options are available. In a 3-player game, the first option is to pass left, pass right, hold, and then repeat. The second option is to pass left, pass right, and then repeat. The third option has to do with passing of 4 cards instead of 3. This allows players to scatter the cards by passing 2 cards to each of the other players. When scattering cards, they can be done so in one of the 2 aforementioned methods. In a 5-player game, the first option is pass left, pass right, hold, and then repeat. The second option is to pass left, pass right, and then repeat. The third option is to pass left, pass right, pass the second player to the left, pass the second player to the right, hold, and then repeat. The fourth option is to pass left, pass right, pass the second person to the left, hold, pass left, pass right, pass to the second person to the right, hold, and then repeat. With all that said, there are a number of versions available to the game that I would like to address here. These versions consist of omnibus hearts, cancellation hearts, and shot hearts. With omnibus hearts, players will choose to have either the Jack of Diamonds or the 10 Diamonds count as a bonus card. When shooting the moon, players need to collect all of the hearts as well as the Queen of Spades. On top of this, 10 points are deducted from the score of the player who claimed the Jack of Diamonds or the 10 of Diamonds. This can include the player who shot the moon. With cancellation hearts, it is a version that is meant to be played with 6 to 10 players using 2 packs of cards consisting of 52 cards each being shuffled together. From there, these cards are dealt out one at a time until all cards have been dealt. If there are any leftover cards, then they are to be placed face down into the kitty, with the kitty rules being used. With the player who is to go first is the one found to the dealer's left. During play, it's possible for 2 identical cards to be played in a trick. If this occurs, then they will cancel each other out in terms of trick-taking abilities, but they still carry any penalty points if they consist of penalty cards. From there, the trick is taken by the highest card of the suit that was led that was not duplicated. If all the cards that were played of the lead suit were found to be canceling pairs, then the trick is to remain on the table with the same player leading. This trick, which consists of current and previous tricks, will be claimed by the winner of the new trick. If the last trick doesn't possess a winner, then it will go to the winner of the previous trick. With spot hearts, it's a version of the game where the penalty value of each heart is equal to its pip value. Well, this means that 2 of hearts is equal to 2 penalty points, the 3 of hearts is equal to 3 penalty points, the 4 of hearts is equal to 4 penalty points, and so on. With the face cards, they consist of the following. The Jack of hearts is equal to 8 penalty points, the Queen of hearts is equal to 12 penalty points, the King of hearts is equal to 13 penalty points, and the Ace of hearts is equal to 14 penalty points. Regarding the Queen of spades, it is equal to 25 penalty points. A value variant is that the 2 of hearts through the 10 of hearts is equal to their face value penalty points, the face cards are equal to 10 penalty points, the Ace of hearts is equal to 15 penalty points, and the Queen of spades is equal to 25 penalty points. Given the fact that it is much easier for players to score penalty points, the target number needed at the end of the game has been raised to that of 500 points. With that said, that is what you need to know in order to play hearts. If you like this episode, feel free to give it a like, and if you want to stay up to date on any future episodes we upload, go ahead and subscribe. You can also support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/checkpointgaming. See you in the next episode, and happy gaming.